What's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood DJ Jazz Hands here at the 2017 Wizard World with Kurt Lehner, who has done a lot of awesome, honestly, if you watch cartoons, you've probably seen a lot of his work. So, Kurt, how you liking Wizard World so far?
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I was here last year, and this year's great again. I love the city of St. Louis. Amazing barbecue here. Yeah, if you have never been to St. Louis, you got to get here and get some barbecue.
You got to run on over to get some barbecue.
Yeah, you got to run over. Yeah.
So,
ride your bike here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, can you kind of tell us exactly, just a little bit, like a brief summary of kind of like what you do and kind of some of the other works that you've worked on in the past?
Okay, so really quick, I guess in my beginning of my career, once I got out of university, I did an art university 4-year diploma program, and I started in advertising, doing ads for Pepsi and McDonald's stuff, different things, beer storyboards, just things like that. Then I was able to transition into animation, and I got an opportunity to work with many studios, and I worked on some feature movies and TV shows. I worked on Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. I worked on Space Jam. Yeah, and then I worked on All Dogs Go to Heaven 2. I had a small little thing on Joseph, the DreamWorks direct-to-DVD movie. Yeah, and then TV. I started off working with a Spielberg production, Fievel's American Tales.
Oh my God! I remember that cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my first gig in animation, and then I went on to do shows like Eek the Cat, that appeared on Fox, right? And then I did a show called Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, which was also kind of associated with Marvel Comics at the time because they did the reprint comics from Xenozoic Tales, and they renamed it Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. So then we did an animated cartoon for that, right? Then I did a little bit more with Disney, and I started doing a show called Disney's Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, the Gargoyles.
I was a character designer, and I really enjoyed working on the show. I love the premise of the show, and it's an amazing show. If you've never seen it, everything's available on DVD, or maybe you can see stuff on YouTube. But it's an awesome show. And then just before that, I had a real great opportunity to work on the Marvel Action Hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the Iron Man Fantastic Four series in the earlier '90s. So that was great. Yeah.
How was you said it was great, but what else, what all did you do? Did you do more character designs? Did you do background designs for the Marvel Power Hour?
She worked more on the animation side. So yeah, a little bit. And so my job was actually to take some rough animation at that time and put it more on model. Make it more look like what it's supposed to look like from the comic books, right? And that was my strength. So they had me doing a lot of work on that, so it was great.
Oh wow! So just kind of like an example, because in my head I'm trying to kind of visualize it. So you would have like Iron Man throwing a punch, and then you would go in and add all the details to make it look more comic accurate, or
fixing anatomy, making it look more Marvel looking. Making sure the costuming is correct a little bit. I guess there were some animators that were working with me on it as well, that they just hashed it out really fast. So then some of the thing, it looked like what it should kind of look like, but they did it so fast, and then it was up to me to take some more time and do the detail of it and pull it out more with the all the stuff the way it's supposed to look like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Who was your favorite character to work on? I mean, because you said that you got to work on the Iron Man Power Hour, or not the Iron Man, the Fantastic Four and Iron Man. Yeah.
Well, and then there was always appearances of other characters coming in. I love Thor. Thor's so much fun, and I love Ben Grimm. Yeah. And he's so much fun to draw with all the rocks and stuff, right? Yeah.
That's fantastic. I absolutely like. I love that. And so, kind of switching gears to gargoyles just a little bit, and to elaborate to some people who might not know, you were a character designer. You did not create gargoyles.
Create anything. I just designed characters. Yeah.
How?
I was a factory worker, basically. We call them factory workers. We're all kind of lined up in rows of desks, and we're all sitting there drawing. Yeah, there's many of us.
Yeah. So what was it like to kind of, one, work on gargoyles, and two, how difficult is it as an artist to, because I don't want to say copy, but essentially to match animation style and get it perfect just how the original artist intended for these characters to look?
That determines your professionalism. When you are a professional working in animation, you can't work on animation productions, movies, or TV shows if you can't draw absolutely everything and anything and any style. If you can't do that, then you're more just an illustrator, but you're not an animation artist. You know, you have to be able to shift gears in a heartbeat from something like Hello Kitty, so simply designed, to Transformers. You got to be able to work in any style, and that's our job as professionals, to match styles so that everything always looks the same. Yeah. So it looks like one artist drew it all the way through, but it's many, many artists. So
awesome, that's fantastic. And I always like to kind of get more behind the scenes, especially with an animation, because we do have a lot of animation students up at Florissant Valley Community College.
Yep.
And so to get them to kind of understand and how the professionalism, and it's always really cool. So what were some of the characters you did design on gargoyles?
Well, the main roster was always they're always designed by either the directors or very senior supervisors and stuff like that. So then when we get those drawings, we get a little it's called a Bible, right? Like you get these Bibles, and they'll have storyboards in it. They'll have the beginning stages of character designs. So then what our job is then we follow the storyboards, and we take things that haven't been designed yet, and we design everything. So main characters, maybe like Demona in a dress. So I have to draw Demona wearing this dress. Goliath in a tuxedo. I'm just randomly making stuff up as we're talking right now. But those are the scenarios, you know, or Goliath sitting in a car. How does he hold the wheel? Different positions of these characters, right? So we have to design what all this looks like. And it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. It's not just, you know, I just sit there and play. You know, it's work. It's, you know, we got to pump out hundreds and hundreds of designs each week, you know? Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like how we see like those artists or some of those like cartoon designs where we see like Bugs Bunny standing in a normal position, and then we see like him running or something. You guys would do the running.
Yeah, we have to do all the different positions. We have to do expressions. You know, when they're growling, when they're laughing, when they're crying, things like that. So that when it goes, see, all this stuff went overseas to Japanese studios. Towards the end of the series, it went to a Korean studio, right? So they have to know, the animators are not paid to really think. They're paid to do. So they have to look at everything. It has to be like a blueprint for them so that everything looks always the same when they're animating it. So that's our job first as designers, is to prepare all that for them, you know.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. That's actually really cool. I like that kind of stuff.
And then basically, to answer your question, I guess, was my favorite thing that I designed was I had to do a version where Goliath turns human. So that was really cool. I studied his face, and I manipulated all that, and I still made him look like Goliath, but as a, you know, good-looking human guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So kind of, because this might, I don't know, I don't want to like get too into this or put you on the spot, but like animation from back like in the day, you know, like early 90s to 80s and stuff, to now has changed like dramatically, like
Yes.
really, really much. How do you feel kind of like about the styles? And do you think it's, I don't want to say like lazy, but do you feel it's for the times, or do you wish people would go back? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think what needs to be recaptured is, I think we've lost a little bit of the essence of how rich character designs need to be. I'm finding maybe some character designs or some styles of shows are very flat. Maybe they're intended to be that flat, but I mean, I remember when I was a child, none of my friends or me or anybody in school ever really liked things that were too flat. We liked the stuff that was very round and volume-esque and things like that, and that's what attracted us to watching the cartoons as kids, right? I think the naturalism of how we used to do it by hand, everything, now being digital, I think we're losing sometimes that humanistic ability to make it come to life, because it then tends to look sometimes, not always, but sometimes a little robotic, right? So it's not as natural looking with movements of arms and running and things like that, right? So I have seen some great digital, like Flash animation, which I think if they take more time putting more drawings into it, then it flows so smoothly, and it's beautiful to watch. It's very clean and very, very sharp, you know. So I think if that was the focus more, to get it to look like the way it used to, you know, and not just, I know budgets have a lot to do with it. You know, if you have a lower budget, you can't put that much effort into the show. But I think we should just work with better budgets. You know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. So, is there any advice you would like to give to somebody who actually wants to either get into animation or get into the world of not necessarily character design, but design in general?
Yeah, yes. Be a lawyer. Yeah, no, it's a lot of money in lawyers.
Yeah.
No, just focus on drawing really well. Focus on proper anatomy, understanding how to exaggerate and distort shapes properly. In drawing, there's no guessing. You have to know what you're doing. Foreshortening, for example, you can't guess with foreshortening. You have to understand how that volume shifts in movement and then pulls and pushes. So it's very important. You know, a lot of people, I teach a lot of students as well in different schools. And I mean, there's this whole movement with anime, for example. And there's some amazing anime out there. I love some of these anime movies. But the students, they saturate themselves sometimes so much with that one style. That's all they know how to draw. And if you say, okay, now draw Mickey Mouse, oh, they can't do it, right? Like, there's just no way to do it. And the problem is you've got to be a well-rounded, well-styled artist. You've got to be able to do so many styles. And that's how then you launch from being someone who likes to draw to someone who does it and gets paid to draw, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. So, final question, because we don't want to take up all your time. You got any other work coming up that you're willing to talk about, that you can talk about?
Well, I just got finished doing a few special pieces for Comic-Cons. I did a Wonder Woman piece that's here to help launch the motion picture coming out. I did a Star Trek Filmation tribute from the 1974 cartoon series. I'm going to be doing more gargoyle lithographs because fans they love it. Every city I go to, they just love it. So I'm also going to be doing some more animation tributes, old school, some new school. I have a lot of comic book art right now. I'm going to start doing a lot more animation type art, which fans seem to love, right? So things like that. I've been asked time and time again, can you do like a modern, really cool looking Harley Quinn and stuff like that, right? Now that the motion picture came out with Suicide Squad, which, you know, they portrayed her in a very unique way and very, very, I think it was very cool how they portrayed her, right? So, and so I'm going to be working on something like that, you know, and just Lots of stuff. Can't tell you everything. But
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, Kurt, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. And we got a lot more fun stuff coming here at Wizard World. And if you're more interested in Kurt, we're going to have a link to his website down below. Sure. And we're also going to have a link to his panel that we were lucky enough to sit in on.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks for coming with me to that. That was nice. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. That was like honestly one of the coolest panels I've ever heard. Yeah, a lot more information. He goes a lot more in depth with a lot of what we kind of touched on a little bit today. So definitely check that out in the link below. But either way, this has been Jazz Hands with Kurt at Wizard World 2017. Bye, guys.